And what's up, guys? Welcome to winter, which came overnight. I know my last video we were like literally in shorts and t-shirts, and then like a light switch, Mother Nature decided winter was here. So we just actually had our first big winter storm come through this last few days, and I figured today would be a good day to go out and just check the snowpack. I kind of want to see how much snow they actually got in the mountains. I kind of doubt I'll be doing any landing anywhere just because of the snow, and then also anywhere in the desert is probably pretty muddy. But recently, the topic came up again about where it's legal to land a bush plane, and I know I've discussed this in the past, but there's kind of a little bit of recent development, so I figured it's worth me re-discussing or kind of circling back to. So that's my plan today. Let's go up, fly around, check out the snowpack, and then we'll talk about the legality of where you can and can't land a bush plane.
The traffic, Freedom Fox, taking runway 8, be a left downwind departure westbound instead. Okay, my plane's saying it's 35 degrees out. So the density altitude, I can actually tell you that, is, it doesn't know it right now, but it's got to be lower than usual. So I would assume some thick air should lead to some good performance. My prop's definitely feeling it because it's only making about 5,400 RPM. Man, it is a chilly one out. I think it was about 35 on the ground. I'm showing 26 degrees out right here at 7,000 feet. It's nice to be able to click the heater on and at least have that function. But yeah, so I want to readdress the conversation of where it's legal to land. And I know I've briefly discussed it in previous videos, but it's something that's it's sort of frustrating because it's very difficult to get information on that topic. And recently I was talking to a friend who was asking me about the legalities of where you can and can't land, and I was discussing my understanding of the regulations of landing on Forest Service or BLM land, which to my understanding is legal as long as it's not in a wilderness zone or wildlife management zone or any sort of different limitations versus being just broad open public lands. But while having that conversation, he asked me, well, have you ever actually called the Forest Service and asked them? And to be honest, I haven't. I had always been going off of information I had gotten from people who I would absolutely consider reputable, but I'd never actually called the Forest Service or the BLM. So the other day I decided this has to end. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the phone, and I called the Tahoe National Forest District Office, which is the Forest Service that manages all the forests that we play in, and had a conversation with one of the rangers there. It ended up being a pretty short conversation. He confirmed exactly what I had thought, that there is a regulation that is Chapter 36 CFR 261 that mentions motor vehicle use on Forest Service lands, and that basically stated that all vehicles must stay on designated roadways and under a certain speed limit. But lower down in the regulation, there's exemptions. Basically, a few things are listed. Over snow vehicles like snowmobiles as well as aircraft are listed as exempt from having to stay on maintained roads. So the ranger, who was a super helpful guy, he looked into things and he said he agreed that it is perfectly legal to land anywhere on Forest Service grounds. He did obviously mention to be aware that you can't be going out and building runways or building new roads or really damaging vegetation. But as far as just landing on Forest Service lands, he had no problems with that. Now after that, I figured I should follow up by calling the BLM, so I got the number for the Carson District office, which is the BLM office that manages all the area that I normally fly in. And I was able to get on the phone with the guy that's in charge of the aviation side of everything for that BLM office, and he also confirmed that my understanding that we can land anywhere on open BLM was correct. Again, he touched on the fact that we should be cognizant of the vegetation and we can't be out building runways or roads. So Basically, this summed up what I've always kind of thought and known, which is as long as it's open public lands, being, again, this cannot be wilderness or a wildlife study area or any sort of refuge, you are able to land on that. Now, I don't want you guys to just take my word for it, because sometimes different districts are going to have different regulations. They might have their own little ordinances that might conflict with what I'm telling you. So before you go and land somewhere on public lands, I highly suggest you just call either the BLM office or the Forest Service office that's in charge of that area. Believe me, they're very nice people. They're there to help us. So just to be safe, always call and make sure that you're not missing something, because like I said, it can be really hard to find these regulations online. Now, aside from that, there's something else I want to touch on, which is going to be stewardship. And now, obviously, both of the rangers mentioned something to me about not damaging vegetation and not creating runways, but this is something that I think we all need to take very seriously. Obviously, the entire stole world has been growing exponentially over the past few years, which is great, because obviously we have power in numbers. If there's more of us to utilize our public lands in this way, there's more of us to help try to protect our freedoms or our privilege to land in public lands. However, it's going to be on us to make sure that we don't screw it up and erode that privilege from ourselves. So basically, what I'm saying is everyone should be super cautious and aware to tread lightly. Meaning we need to be super cognizant of the tracks we're leaving behind. If we're landing somewhere that is over some vegetation, say it's just a grassy meadow, tread lightly while you're there. Don't be going in and doing a billion touch and goes working on your stole landings on public land. I would highly suggest that you either find a dirt strip or go find a stretch of dirt road somewhere that you've confirmed is legal to land on and do your touch and goes there, because we really don't want to be causing any impact that's going to get people upset with us that might in turn add to new regulations upon us. And now with that, be cognizant of the noise we are creating. Obviously, we are out enjoying our public lands, which is all of ours to have and to use, which is an amazing thing, how much land the U.S. government has set aside for public activities. But we also have to understand that we're not the only users of those lands. So there could be other people out that are either hunting, fishing, backpacking, whatever else they could be doing, rafting, that we're going to have an impact on their experience if we're out buzzing around creating a bunch of noise. So if you're landing somewhere that there's a popular hiking trail nearby, maybe keep your landings to a minimum, maybe avoid it on weekends. It's the same kind of mentality that we all should be aware of our prop blast when we're flying with other aircraft and what we're spraying with dust and rocks and everything that's blowing up behind our prop. Also be aware of the noise that we create. Again, I'm super excited to see that there are so many new faces coming not only into aviation but into the stole realm of things, and with that I feel a bit of responsibility to just make sure that we don't screw it up for ourselves. So I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from with that one. That is my spiel on what I've learned about landing on public lands. Again, do not take my word for it. Please, if you're going to go land somewhere, call the local office that manages that land and confirm with them. Those guys are here to help, and really the transparency between us and them is what's going to create the relationship that makes sure that we can protect this freedom or this privilege that we have moving forward. But anyway, that's enough talky. Let's do a little bit of flying and check out the snow up here, which actually it did not snow as much as I would have thought it would have up here. I'm only seeing, I don't know, a few inches on the ground, maybe 6, but we'll see as we work our way west if there's more. There's a coyote right there. Oh yeah, one other thing I should mention, and again, I know I've mentioned this before, but if you're wondering how you know where is public land versus private land, I use an app called OnX Off-Road. Now, OnX was originally a hunting app. They now have all sorts of different apps for everything from off-roading to backcountry, hiking and skiing and all of that, and the off-road version is the one that I use. I have the premium subscription, which shows land ownership and all of that. And also, since it's the off-road version, it will show you where all the off-road trails are, which I actually utilize for, taking my truck out for whether it's just off-roading adventures or fishing access. So yeah, anyway, Onyx Off-Road, super handy app. I use it a ton.
All right, guys and gals, welcome back to the hangar. Landed safe and sound. To sum this one up, there really isn't that much snow. Not enough to look forward to getting the snowmobile out yet. We're gonna need another storm or two before that. And then also, going back to where you can or cannot land legally, make sure you call the district manager for the area that you're trying to land in to confirm before you go there, and also touching again on stewardship. Let's make sure that we all take responsibility in making sure that we don't ruin this for ourselves and everyone else. So make sure you have good stewardship, tread lightly, try not to make too much noise, and let's try to keep everyone happy so that we can keep doing what we love and exercising this freedom or privilege that we have of landing off airport. And lastly, I hope if you go to build a website that you will consider using Squarespace when you go to do it. And I know I've given this spiel before, but I'm gonna give it again for any of you that might have missed it. Squarespace truly is the ultimate way to build a website and run your business. You start with one of their award-winning templates, you craft it into your own beautiful, professional looking and working website that's optimized for both desktop as well as mobile. And they have features for every industry, so it doesn't matter what you're trying to do with your website, be it an online store, personal blog, maybe just a digital business card to hand out to others to let them know how to get a hold of you. You can do that quickly and easily with Squarespace. So if you haven't yet, head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to purchase, make sure to use code Trent Palmer at checkout. That'll get you 10% off. Thank you again, Squarespace, for sponsoring this one, and thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out. And you guys know the drill. Like this video if you do, subscribe if you haven't, come be my wingman. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.